Like most people these days, you probably spend a lot of time on the internet and regularly visit a ton of websites. But if I were to ask you the seemingly simple question, what is a website? How would you answer? An easy and common answer might be that a website is a place you go on the internet with text and images with which you can interact. But that's kind of like saying a car is a shiny box on wheels that goes very fast. It's accurate as a surface-level description, but look a little deeper, and the explanation becomes more complex and more interesting. Let's see what happens when we pop the hood on a website and try to learn a little more. We all know that websites live on the internet, but let's start by talking about what that means. A very simple way of thinking about the internet is that it's a very large network of computers that can all talk to each other. This includes all the computers, phones, and tablets people like you and I use to browse the internet, but it also includes specialized computers called servers. Servers are like houses for web content, especially websites. And if we are going to visit a website at its house, we'll need to find its address. Handily, every server has its own unique address called an Internet Protocol address, or simply an IP. IP addresses are expressed as a series of numbers that computers can use to find each other on the internet. But while these strings of numbers are great for computers, they're not very friendly for us humans. They're difficult to remember and just not very catchy. That's why we have domain names. To continue our metaphor of the server as a house for a website, if you don't know the address of a house you are trying to find, or if the address is too long and cumbersome to remember, you might try finding your way there by asking a knowledgeable local, "Hey, where's Bob's house?" And the helpful local directs you to Bob's actual location. This is basically what a domain name is. It's a common, more human-readable name that uses a system called Domain Name System, or DNS, which is like a group of knowledgeable locals to get directions to the real address of the website, its IP. When a user types a domain such as bobshouse.com into the web browser, the browser reaches out to the DNS to point to the server's IP address, which then returns the files the browser needs to render the website. This all happens nearly instantaneously behind the scenes every time you enter a domain name into your web browser. So we know websites live on servers, but what are they made of? At its heart, a website is made up of a series of files on a server's hard drive that instruct browsers what to display and how to behave. They're sort of like a set of blueprints, and the browser is like a very, very fast contractor that builds the website every time that you visit and sticks around to change things as necessary. Most full websites are made up of several web pages, all linked together, but each web page is made out of the same types of basic instruction files. Let's talk about what kinds of files are commonly used to make websites. The most important kind of file is HTML. This stands for Hypertext Markup Language. The hypertext part simply means that it includes the ability to link between web pages. But what is a markup language? Its purpose is to identify the role of content. Let's look at a block of ordinary text. We can label the different parts based on their role in the content. That's basically what HTML does. It marks up content to tell the browser that different parts should be used in different ways to give it structure and meaning. In fact, the exact formatting we just added to our text could be shown in HTML code as well. The HTML file marks the content with coded tags, and the browser renders its appearance according to a set of defaults. But if browsers take HTML and render the tags according to set rules, why doesn't every website look the same? This is because web developers use CSS, which stands for Cascading Style Sheets. Its job is to tell the browser how to customize the look of the rendered HTML, and it can be used to adjust everything from colors to typefaces to the position of various elements and a lot more. The CSS code refers to specific HTML tags or sets of tags and determines their appearance. In addition to the structured content of HTML, websites usually also include various types of media files. Most frequently, this refers to images. Common image formats include the garden variety JPEG, PNGs, GIFs, and vectors. Other types of media include audio and video files. At the most basic level, media can be included in the HTML structure of the page by special markup that references the file name and location. The browser looks for the media file location and displays it as part of the rendered web page. The types of files we have been talking about so far make up the basic building blocks of a site, but the modern web is highly interactive, and simple static content alone can't create these rich experiences. From blogs to to-do lists to online shopping to YouTube comments, interaction and user-editable content requires the use of a programming language. HTML and CSS control what the user sees, but programming languages are key for allowing the user to do more than simply view static content and move from page to page with links. Anytime a user fills out a form, writes content to a server, or logs in or out, a programming language is being used. There are many programming languages, but JavaScript is the most common on the web today. Beyond this basic definition, we won't talk much about programming languages in this course, and we'll instead stick to HTML and CSS. So there you have it. The Internet is a network of computers, and special computers called servers store content that make up websites. Each server has an IP address, but those are hard to remember. So we use domain names to find websites, and a system called DNS matches the domain name to the IP address of the correct server. The browser is an application that does all of this behind the scenes and then uses the site files to build the viewable page. There are several important types of files, including HTML, which defines what the content is, CSS, which defines how it should look, media files such as images, audio, and video, and programming languages which create advanced interactivity. Once you understand how to write those files, the infinite possibilities of the web are open to you.